Hey, this is Ryan from 60 Cycle Hunt, the Guitar Podcast. Today I'm going to show you the upgrades, downgrades, modifications, tweaks I've made to the Epiphone Les Paul SL. This is a $99 guitar, brand new. It came with a lot of issues. First of all, the frets were like a roller coaster. The tuners were terrible. I even hated the strings that this thing came with. And the bridge was okay, but not fantastic. So I've done a lot of things, and let's talk about them. First of all, people who have already watched my previous videos of this guitar know that I swapped out the tuners for a set of Grover Minis that were graciously donated by Dylan of Dylan Pickups and Dylan Talks Tone and other Dylan empires that he runs. And then I was having issues with the frets. The 3rd, the 5th, and the 9th fret were all high, causing me lots of buzz and playing issues that were not fun and made this not a giggable guitar in my opinion. So I took all the strings off. I attacked those frets with a little grinding stone made for grinding frets with a little like metal guard that goes over it. People right now are commenting furiously, telling me the official names of these tools, I'm sure. But anyways, messing around with those, I was able to get the frets nice and level with all the other frets in between the nut and the 12th fret. It plays just fine now. It plays like any of my other guitars. I'm honestly really surprised I was able to do as good of a job as I did. I tend to really mangle things. People who watched my my tuner fitting video on this guy know that I mangle things. I didn't adjust any of the frets beyond the 12th fret because I wanted to see how good I actually got these couple frets up here before I started doing anything down here. Now that I have confidence, I'm totally going to attack these frets next time I have the strings off. They still buzz out all over the place down here. I like to play high up on the fretboard, so I like to have those leveled as well as I can anyways. And then I've done some extracurricular stuff that honestly the guitar didn't need. The original bridge it comes with is just fine. It intonates just fine. It feels just fine. It's a cheap piece of metal, but what do you expect from a $99 guitar? I just wanted to have some fun. So I put on the cheapest Bigsby knockoff I could find on eBay. I think it was around 24, 25 bucks, somewhere in that neighborhood. And then I put on a Bigsby style floating bridge here that I got off of Amazon, I think for around 30, 35 bucks, somewhere in that neighborhood. So to fit the bridge, I had to take out the posts that would hold up the stop tail bridge that was originally on here so that the Bigsby bridge would sit flush against the body. I also had to grind out a little channel underneath this bridge for the grounding wire to fit underneath because otherwise this bridge would have rocked back and forth on that grounding wire and it would have eventually pressed into the finish, and I just wanted to avoid all that. I already had my my angle grinder out, so it was a quick fix. Now, the big engineering debacle with the Bigsby is that it goes over the pick guard. So there is wood through here. I could have cut the pick guard to go around the Bigsby and it would have looked okay. It would have looked just fine, but I really wanted to maintain the aesthetic of this pick guard that I actually kind of like. It looks like an upside down dinosaur, according to commenters on YouTube. So what I had to do to get the Bigsby to fit over the pick guard is I had to put shims underneath this Bigsby here, and I cut those out of scrap metal that I had around my garage. They just happened to be the right width to lift this thing just above the pick guard, and it worked out perfectly. I'm honestly surprised how snug and how rock solid this cheap Bigsby feels on this guitar now. It goes over the hole where the pickup selector switch used to be. I had to move the pickup selector switch, and I had to route out a piece of wood in the body so that it would fit right there. I honestly really like the placement of it now. I feel like it's more natural for me, a little bit more convenient ergonomically while I'm playing. And then the Bigsby did a pretty nice job of covering up that leftover hole. If you get close to the guitar, you're going to see it, but otherwise it's pretty well obscured. While I'm here, I might as well review this cheap Bigsby knockoff. Mechanically, it's just fine. A Bigsby tremolo is a mechanically very simple device. It's got a roller between two ball bearings, and you manipulate it with a bar, and that's just about it. There's not a lot of points of failure to worry about, except for the connection between the bar and the little arm here. On this thing, on this cheap Bigsby, that arm gets loose real quick. With any kind of use, it just loosens up. I ended up having to improvise a little prison shank style tool here made out of a spare cheap steak knife that I had laying around, and it allows me to just tuck in between the spring threads and tighten this thing up without having to take off the strings or any other part of the Bigsby. And it's pretty dang effective for getting it to tighten up in a pinch. See, it doesn't flop around now. It's nice and stable. But this thing loosens up literally like song to song. So for the time being, that's a big bummer in my book as far as this goes. I'm wondering if I can fix that by putting a drop of lock thread on there next time I have this with the strings off and I can open it up, or if I swap out that nut on there for a different kind of nut, maybe an official Bigsby nut. I don't know. I'll be experimenting with that for sure. But otherwise, it functions just fine. It's nice and smooth. I like the length of the spring that it came with. I think it was a good buy once I figured out how to tweak that nut there. Otherwise, I think this guitar feels and plays great now. It reminds me more and more of the Epiphone Les Paul SL that I picked up at Summer NAMM. It's a nice player in between the nut and the 12th fret for now. Like I said, the higher frets buzz out, but it's totally comfortable. This bridge against the body here makes it really nice and resonant. I'm pretty stoked about this bridge, and I'm thinking I might try to build some project guitars around these in the future. Otherwise, cool guitar. It's about $200 worth of parts now in between the original guitar, the Bigsby, the bridge, and the tuners. If you're going to take on a project like this, you have to ask yourself, is it worth $200? And is it worth the dozen or so hours of time that I spent working on this? I could probably get it done now in a couple hours now that I know what I've done, but I'm probably never going to do it again. Anyways, thanks for watching. Do all the normal YouTube stuff. Like, dislike, leave me nasty comments that hurt my feelings. I love those. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Later.